We're back. We got more Joker content to do. More new content Joker's trying out. This is all temporary. I'm gonna change it. Maybe I'll get the actual photo. It's a green screen. I faked it. Ooh, played y'all for about the 2 seconds. But new content. Gonna try this out. I went to the theaters, and that's what this is. Nice little movie review. I should have done that. It got stuck in my teeth. Give me a sec. Anyways, new content. I'm going to be doing some movie reviews, game reviews, TV show reviews. I'm really big into this stuff, and I don't know why I didn't do these kind of things to begin with. If you guys know, I did just start a podcast. It's called Positively Reviewed. I'm just going to give a shout out for this first. And again, you're going to get the longer intro, as always, with this new kind of content, so I can explain what the heck I'm doing, even though you don't even care. I'm going to explain what I'm doing, and then we won't do it from here on out. But I would recommend going to check out. We just released the first episode of Positively Reviewed. It is a movie, game, TV show review podcast, but we only talk about all the positives that we actually enjoy about this, about whatever the content was. First episode was on Mortal Kombat. I was really happy. It was a really good first episode, so I would go check it out. But these ones, I get to be a little bit more balanced. This is a little bit more balanced review. Both the positives, the negatives, and how I truly feel about whatever I'm watching. These are spoiler free. I go see a lot of stuff. And so these reviews are more supplemental to the podcast, because the podcast is talking about stuff that me and Nessa have both seen. I go see a lot more stuff. Hopefully this provides some kind of value. But let's get into it. The Wrath of Man. It's Guy Ritchie and Jason Statham. I don't know what else you need. I'm a fan of Jason Statham. I've been a much bigger fan of Guy Ritchie recently. I think he kind of started with The Gentleman, and all of a sudden I've kind of been on a Ritchie kick. I love the way he just tells stories. He's good. I mean, he knows what he's good at, and he does it, right? I mean, you know what you're gonna get. He's really good at these whole mob, these seedy underworld kind of movies where there's always something going on. And, you know, Guy Ritchie, Jason Statham, they've worked together quite a few times. You get what you're going to get. You're going to get an angry British dude who comes in, who's kind of seems very average, but all of a sudden you're like, oh, right, he's got a past, and it turns out he's a badass, and it kind of just goes from there. You go into this movie knowing what you're going to get. Again, if you like Guy Ritchie, I think you already know. And that's what you get with this. Jason Statham, he goes in and gets hired by a armored truck company, you know, a company that moves money from banks and dispensaries and stuff, brings it back to their depot, and then sends it out wherever it needs to go. He plays everything kind of low-key, average. He just seems like he's trying to stay under the radar. And then, of course, something happens, and then you find out, oh, man, maybe he's at this armored truck company for a reason. And as most Guy Ritchie stuff is, they kind of start you in the middle of a story happening, and then they do flashbacks and different perspectives and all those kind of things. Very Pulp Fiction-esque. Again, if you've seen The Gentleman recently, you know what you're getting. But it's that Pulp Fiction-esque kind of jumping back and forth. I will say this one doesn't have as much of that where it's very disjointed. It's kind of like it goes for a while, then it sends you back, tells you a lot of the backstory, and then it continues from where it left off. I love the way I gotta props again, Guy Ritchie. I love the way he's been telling stories. I thoroughly enjoy this movie, and I think one of the biggest factors for why I enjoyed this movie was I needed someone who doesn't hold my hand when I'm telling a story, and Guy Ritchie does a really good job of doing that. I think a lot of shows and a lot of movies and stuff recently, Hollywood in general, really just think we're all idiots. Which, in fact, I am. But when it comes to movies and stuff, I want to be told the story, but I don't want my hand held during it where they have to explain. Marvel has a really good job of doing that. We saw it recently with Falcon the Winter Soldier. We get it at some point. Maybe some people need that. It's a little much for me. And Guy Ritchie does a really good job is where he kind of just comes in and he tells his story. Every time I leave a Ritchie movie, I'm always wanting more, and not a bad way either. Like I said, he kind of just tells his story, and then leaves. You go. The movie ends and the credits roll. That's it. What happened to all the other places and companies and people and families and who were affected by all the actions of what happened? God, I don't know. You just leave the movie with no answers to any of that, which I'm kind of okay with. You don't need any of that stuff, really. I mean, he's there to tell you a story about a certain interaction that really the movie is about, and that's it. And yeah, you're left with all these other questions about maybe the other stuff, but he's very much like, who cares? You don't need to know any of that stuff. You came here to watch about this one thing. Do you really want to know what happened to all these other things? Not really. So, tells you the story, lets the credits roll. And I really appreciate that. It's something Ritchie does really well, is he has these really almost very easy plots to follow along with. He gives you all the details that you need, leaves out a lot of the extra that you don't really care about in reality and you don't need, and then he kind of just lets the story play. Jason Statham in this movie, he's Jason Statham. If you like him, you'll like this movie. If you don't like him, you might not like this movie as much. Still recommend it. Yeah, this movie, as I said, overall, I really enjoyed this movie, and I think it was something I needed. I knew the whole time I was sitting in the theater, I was like, okay, I know where this is going. I was just interested to see how it was all going to play out, because you never know with this kind of style of storytelling is that how everything plays out. You know where it's going, but you don't know how it's going to get there. These kind of movies that do a really good job of holding your interest, because, as I said, you know exactly what's going to happen, but you don't at the same time. If that makes any sense. You're there for the journey, and that's why you go to those movies. And this is a good one. It's definitely not his absolute best work, but it's a good add to his collection of Guy Ritchie films. I will say some of the characters I felt were a little underutilized, or I wish we did get a little bit more. As I said, he just gives you the details you need. Sometimes it was tough to be they used all these nicknames and stuff like that in the armory, and so you're like, okay, wait, who's that one in these cars, and who's with who, and what's... There's kind of a lot of moving parts. I could have used a little bit more details here and there. I don't even know. I don't even know if it ever really felt slow at any point. Again, it was kind of a straight line from point A to point B. You knew where it was going, and you got the details you needed throughout it. So, Scott Eastwood is in this. I'm a fan of Scott Eastwood. I think honestly, ever since he appeared in the Fast and Furious series, he has a good air about him and how he acts, and I like it. He's the kind of style actor that I like. We also get Holt McCallany. He did Mindhunters, which I was a fan of that first season of that show. He did a good job with that. Again, you knew his character, you knew where that character was going kind of throughout the film as well. You got Jeffrey Donovan and Andy Garcia, which are interesting. They both played interesting roles, I think, throughout this as well. Both played good characters. I would have minded more details about some of those characters, but you didn't need them. You didn't want. I mean, I wanted them, but I didn't need them. Post Malone was in this for a scene, a short scene as well. Every time you see him, you recognize. I think everyone recognizes him. I'm not a big Post Malone fan, but even I see it. I'm like, oh, I see. And I know exactly what kind of character he's going to play. Got it. All right. Overall, Wrath of Man was a solid time. I recommend it. If you got your vaccine shots and you're comfortable going out and the theaters are open, I'd highly recommend going to the theater to see it. I saw it in a Dolby theater. Guy Ritchie is a good on-the-couch kind of film as well. But I'd recommend go to the theater, watch this. It's a good time. If I had to give it a rating, high 7 out of 10. I don't know how generous I need to be with the rating system because there's no point of reference anyways. So enjoy the no point of reference 7 out of 10. But go see the movie. I think you'll enjoy it. It's a good time. Go listen to the podcast. Seriously, if you like this kind of content, subscribe. Go check the other content. I've been trying to work on a lot of other ideas. I want to know what sticks. So the more you interact with me on what you're liking and what you want to see more of, the more I make that kind of content. So if you like this, let me know. If you went to go see Wrath of Man, If you like Guy Ritchie films in general, tell me what's your favorite Guy Ritchie film. What do you enjoy? You guys beautiful. You're sexy. Love y'all. Stay sane out there.